Christiana Figueres, it's so wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I know how ridiculously busy you are, and you always find the time to talk to us at 1 Million Women, and we love your support. It really means so much to us. How are you going in this world of COVID?
Well, doing well, Natalie. Thank you very much for inviting me again. And honestly, I just think, what 1 Million Women has done in the past and continues to do is just fantastic. And so, yes, I'm very happy to be in conversation and to help you kick off a broader conversation.
Yeah, I loved that little video of you, the one that you jumping, screaming.
Okay, here is the story about that, okay? The story is we are at my home, the privacy of my home with some work colleagues, and we are going through strategic planning for next year. And we get the confirmation that Biden has been elected as president after days of waiting for this. And I just cannot stop myself. And as you saw, I'm jumping up and down, twirling around and screaming. Little did I know that one of my colleagues was making a video of this. And before I had even stopped twirling around, he put it out on social media. So, that's the end of my public decorum impression. No more decorum left. But I do think that in a fun way, it really captured the spirit of so many of us who were so concerned and have been so despondent about the irresponsibility of the United States government. And now we know that the United States government returns to responsible action on climate change, both domestically and internationally.
Yeah, share with us that.
I wish I had done it with a little bit more decorum, but there you are.
Yes, but tell us, what just share with us what it really means, for the Paris Agreement, for everything that you and so many have worked so hard at getting to. What does this mean?
A change in administration in the United States, of course, has huge impact on climate change because it continues to be the largest economy. And curiously enough, over the past 4 years, it has continued to decarbonize because the major states on both the East Coast and the West Coast actually understand that it's good for them, it's better for their citizens. And so they've continued to decarbonize. So it's actually possible that the United States, despite what I call the dark house, which is a White House without any lights in it, despite the dark house, it's possible that the United States will actually comply with what it said it was going to do in the Paris Agreement. But despite itself, I should say, despite the White House. But so it is very comforting that the US administration will return to responsible policy measures. But Natalie, I have to tell you, the change in administration is not only about climate responsibility. It is about finally turning a page on hate, on disrespect, on racism, on total disrespect on women's issues. It is actually, I am not a US citizen, but I lived there for many years and I love that country. And I have been pinged to and moral and institutional fabric of that country has frayed because of the dark house. So I am actually relieved. I don't think it's going to be easy to build that back up. I think it's going to be a huge, huge, heavy lift. But President-elect Biden is putting together a very good team. Well represented across generations, across gender, across races. And so I am quite hopeful that they're going to do their darndest to begin to repair the damage that has been done. That is not a politically correct statement, but it is what is in my heart.
Yes, and so beautifully said. And there's a lot of people on this call, at this event, from the US, so they will be, hearing those words and feel that with you too, Christiana. And in your book, you say that that we need both systemic transformation and individual behavioral changes. One without the other will not get us to the necessary scale of change at the necessary pace. That goes to the heart of 1 million women, you know that. And so what can you tell all of us listening to you right now? What are the most impactful things that we can do in 2021 and beyond to make this decade count?
Well, let me start with the decade, Natalie, because we have started the most decisive decade in the history of humankind, which sounds like an exaggeration, but it isn't. Because by the end of this decade, which means in 10 years minus 11 months, we have to be at the point where we would have been able to reduce global greenhouse gases by 50% with respect to where we are now. And if we don't do that, we're actually condemning our children, our grandchildren, and all their descendants to untold misery for humankind, to escalating physical destruction, economic value destruction, and certainly to cascading ecosystem failures from which we will not be able to recover. That's the doom and gloom. Now, here's the good news. If we are able to cut our greenhouse gases by 50% by 2030, then we open ourselves up to the possibility of not only avoiding the dystopian world, but actually of creating a much better world than we have now. And all of us women, right, we are the stewards of this planet. We are the stewards of our children, of our grandchildren. We women know that we have come here to prepare the path for those who follow. That is in our DNA. We didn't come here to destroy the path. We came here to pave the path for those that follow. That is what being a responsible woman is all about. And so we have to do this, Natalie. We totally have to do this. That is what I call stubborn optimism. And let me say, I really want to use this opportunity to invite every single member of 1 million women to become a stubborn optimist. Here's what I mean by a stubborn optimist. I mean, first, give up the doom and gloom thinking. Get out of despair. Yes, it is absolutely terrible what is happening to nature. And yes, there's moments for grief, but we can't stay in that hole. We have to crawl ourselves out of that hole and move toward hope, toward determination, toward conviction, knowing that we do have everything that it takes, everything that it takes. We have the ingenuity, we have the capital, we have the technologies, we know what the policies are, we know what the individual behaviors are because you've been doing it for years. And we collectively, we can do this. So we have to put on the mantle of optimism that protects us against the fatalistic and pessimistic thinking that we can't do this. First, be a ferocious and determined optimist. And then we know that there are going to be many challenges ahead, but that we can't stop. We can't just say, oh, well, it's a little bit difficult, or maybe even it's very difficult, and therefore I'm going to sit back in my couch and twiddle my thumbs and let the world go to hell in a hellbasket. No, 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 no. We are at the point where we can't give up or let up, Natalie. We have to move forward. And we as women are the ones who can do this. With tongue in cheek, I say, honestly, it was men who created climate change and women who are going to solve it. Now, that is not 100% true, but it is figuratively true. And that is what I think is so exciting about 1 million women, right? That you really carry that torch within you, the torch that you know that every single one of us at our individual level, at our corporate level, city, town, country level, investment level, whatever, we all play different roles, and we have to use all of those roles to be able to bring down our emissions ASAP. So make a plan, figure out what your carbon footprint is. I assume all of you have done that already, and then figure out how are you going to get to 1/2 of that footprint by 2030 at the latest. Honestly, all men and women should be able to do it in 2 or 3 years. It is entirely possible. We can give up red meat. We can look at the transport that we are using. We can look at how efficient our homes and offices and schools and buildings are. Why are we wasting energy heating and cooling, the neighbor or the park or the next door building? We should absolutely know where our savings are. If they're in high carbon assets, get them out, because you will lose your jacket on that one. And of course, vote. Vote, vote, vote in any possible upcoming election. Vote for those people who understand that we have a stewardship responsibility here on this planet that we cannot shirk.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's like, it's just so perfect. What a perfect message to tell us all. It's something to me earlier this year when I said, what keeps you optimistic? What keeps you there? And you said something so simple that just was, I choose to be optimistic. It is my choice. And
it's a choice.
That's right.
It is a choice, Natalie. And here's the trick. You know what? It's a daily choice, right? We wake up and we have this barrage of bad news. And, especially in Australia, there must be quite a bit of bad news every day. And so we have to choose. Do we let that news, which is a reality, we don't deny that reality, but do we let that news of whatever's happening at the corporate level, at the government level, do we let that stop us? Or do we actually use that news to actually firm up our conviction that we are going to create a different reality, no matter what? Because it's too important. It's too important to just sit back. We have to make the choice every single day. Some days it's easier when you wake up with good news, or what Jacinda Ardern just said. That's an easy choice to be optimistic, but sometimes it's difficult. That's why it's a woman's choice, because we were created to make difficult choices and to engage in tasks that others think are impossible.